I think it had sort of a reverse spin on it.
Come on, Kevin. Stop gabbing with your girlfriend.
She's not my girlfriend.
The Wonder Years made my childhood better than ever when the series was the only place where my father and I could sit together and watch an entire episode from start to finish. Laughing out loud together when Wayne bullied Kevin, or when Paul Pfeiffer was awkward because of his thick glasses, then falling into nervous silence, waiting for Kevin to confess his feelings to Winnie under the rain. Those moments, though simple, were strangely warm. Only much later, when the internet became popular, did I re-watch the series again and again and realise it was still warm, still genuine, as it had always been. But the deeper I dug into the behind-the-scenes stories, the more I discovered strange details. Did you know the series was almost cancelled after just 4 episodes, simply because of a ridiculous reason from ABC, or the strange detail hidden behind the kiss of the 2 child actors Kevin and Winnie that made adults extremely outraged? And then the story of Danica McKellar, Winnie Cooper, who became an outstanding mathematician, yet was long ignored by the media. Let's find the answers in today's video. 15. Almost cancelled after just 4 episodes. You may not know that The Wonder Years was almost cancelled by ABC after only 4 episodes aired. Right from the early days, the network did not like this series. They believed the pacing was too slow, too gloomy, lacking big laughs and a laugh track. The things that defined sitcoms at that time. Fred Savage, the 12-year-old boy who played Kevin, was even commented on by some programming executives as being not cute enough to be the centre of a long-running show. The atmosphere on set at that time was heavy. Everyone clearly felt that the project could end at any moment. But then the critics stepped in to defend it. They wrote long articles praising the rare authenticity, emotional depth, and the way the series delicately recreated childhood. It was precisely the praise from the press, not the initial ratings, that persuaded ABC to give it another chance. Thanks to that, The Wonder Years survived its turbulent first season and gradually became an icon. Looking back, that moment feels like a reminder. Sometimes what keeps a story alive is not the immediate mass audience, but those who understand and cherish its true value. The series almost died young, but it was that very fragility that later created its enduring vitality. 14. Kevin and Winnie's first kiss was real. When watching The Wonder Years with friends, we screamed when we saw the scene of Kevin and Winnie kissing under the rain in the pilot episode. That moment was both sweet and made hearts pound because it felt so real. It turned out that Kiss was the real first kiss of Fred Savage and Danica McKellar. Both 12-year-old children at that time had never kissed anyone before, so the atmosphere on set was so tense you could hear heartbeats. They had to shoot it again and again 6 times because Danica kept bursting into laughter every time their lips touched, partly from nervousness, partly from embarrassment in front of the entire crew and cameras. The scene where Fred gently stroked Winnie's hair was also not in the script. It was just a spontaneous gesture from the boy at that moment. But it brought an unusually genuine emotion, making the whole crew fall silent for a few seconds after cut. Many years later, when asked again, both Fred and Danica still clearly remembered that moment as part of a private memory, mixed with a bit of adolescent awkwardness and unforgettable warmth. That kiss scene was not only a highlight of the series, but also proof that sometimes the most beautiful moments come from the clumsiest, most honest moments of the very children growing up on screen. 13. Puberty almost destroyed Kevin and Winnie. For me, Kevin and Winnie, the skinny boy and girl with messy hair and innocent personalities mixed with the first worries of life, were the soul of the series. But then puberty arrived quietly, destroying that balance. Danica McKellar grew much faster than Fred Savage. From the third season, she was about 10 centimetres taller than him with a more mature figure and feminine curves, while Fred still had the look of a skinny boy with a baby face. When standing next to each other in scenes, they looked clearly mismatched. No longer a cute same-age couple, but more like an older sister, walking with her younger brother, completely breaking the chemistry that had once felt natural. Writers Carol Kuttner and Ed Begley Jr. noticed the problem right from the costume fittings. They had to urgently write the script so that Kevin and Winnie were separated for an entire long season. Winnie went abroad to study, then dated someone else, turning her into a sporadic supporting character. The atmosphere on set at that time was heavy. Fred later said he felt lost, while Danica worried about the future of her role. This was not just a technical trick. It accurately reflected the reality of teenagers in the 1980s, when hormones changed rapidly and first love wavered because of things beyond control. In the end, the series closed after season 6. Partly for this reason, the young actors were no longer children. They grew up in front of the camera, voices cracking skin, breaking out, and the childhood story had to make way for adulthood. Looking back, that fragility is exactly what made the Wonder Years profound. Not a fairy tale forever, but a real memory of unavoidable changes. 12. The truth about Winnie. Few people know that Danica McKellar, the girl Winnie Cooper with long hair and slightly sad eyes, did not stop at that teenage role. After the series ended, she chose a completely different path, graduating from UCLA with a degree in mathematics summa cum laude with nearly perfect grades. Not stopping at a diploma, Danica also co-authored a research paper on mathematical models in physics, published in a prestigious scientific journal. She participated in conferences, wrote math textbooks for children, and became one of the few prominent female figures in the STEM field. Her younger sister, Crystal McKellar, who played Becky Slater, Kevin's ex-girlfriend, is also an Ivy League high achiever, graduating from Yale and pursuing an academic career. Danica always wanted to be recognized as a serious mathematician, a woman with real contributions to science. She once said in interviews that she did not want to be forever tied to the image of Winnie, a character that made audiences nostalgic but overshadowed her later efforts. The media and fans still often called her Winnie Cooper, even though she had published books, taught and proven outstanding intelligence. Those academic achievements, though worthy of pride, were still covered by the dust of nostalgic memory. Looking back, Winnie was not just a role. She was proof that behind the childhood spotlight, many young actors chose their own paths quietly and persistently to affirm their true value. That very contrast is what makes Danica McKellar more special in our memory. 11. The narrator and the main actor never met each other. I often think about the warm, calm narration voice of Daniel Stern, the man who voiced adult Kevin, looking back on childhood with a bit of regret and tolerance. That voice felt like an older friend whispering in our ears the things young Kevin had not yet understood. And yet, throughout 6 seasons, Daniel Stern and Fred Savage never met each other even once on set. They worked completely separately. Fred acted in front of the camera with an innocent smile, while Daniel sat in a recording booth reading lines based on the script and filmed footage. No interaction, no conversation, not even a handshake. The two only met for the first time after the series officially ended at a press event or anniversary gathering. Fred recalled that moment as so strange that he felt like he was meeting himself from the future. This way of working sounds odd, but it was strangely effective. Stern's voice added reflective depth to Fred's youthful images, creating a complete Kevin Arnold, both a boy and a man who had lived through time. Thanks to that separation, the series retained an authentic nostalgic feeling, like a memory told long afterward. Sometimes, distance is what connects the most. 10. Fred Savage, at 13, entering Emmy history. That year, Fred Savage was only 13 years old, yet he entered Emmy history as the youngest actor ever nominated for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series. The boy with messy hair and a shy smile stunned the entire critical community. Not only that, The Wonder Years also won the Emmy for Outstanding Comedy Series after airing only 6 episodes, a rare achievement for any series, especially a newly launched one. That rapid and powerful success was partly thanks to Fred. He did not act theatrically, but lived as Kevin Arnold, the awkward moments in front of Winnie, the arguments with Wayne, the quiet moments thinking about life. All of it radiated an authenticity that made audiences believe he was truly the boy next door. Fred later said that the pressure was so great that he sometimes forgot he was acting. That award was not just personal glory, it proved that a slow, emotional story about childhood could touch the hearts of millions. Looking back, Fred Savage was not just a child star. He was a symbol of our generation, with very ordinary worries portrayed with subtlety. 9. Karen's older sister attraction to bad boys. Karen Arnold, Kevin's older sister, was always a character that made me feel both affection and frustration. She often dated older guys, the cool type with long hair, motorcycles, smoking and careless attitudes. Exactly the kind of bad boys that made parents worry themselves sick. One of Karen's boyfriends appearing in a dream sequence was played by John Corbett, the guy who later became famous with Sex and the City. In that scene, Fred Savage had to act out Kevin's jealousy and accidentally threw a real punch at Corbett's face. The punch was not hard, but strong enough to make the entire crew jump. Yet John Corbett reacted extremely calmly, laughing loudly and patting Fred on the shoulder as if nothing had happened. "It's okay, kid. Keep rolling." That chill reaction left a deep impression on the whole crew, especially on a 12-year-old boy like Fred. Karen and her dangerous relationships were not just comedic details. They reflected the reality of teenagers in the 1960s to 70s, when older siblings often tested family boundaries with choices that made everyone anxious. Many years later, the image of Karen still makes us smile, because everyone has had a sister like that, or once was the Karen in the family themselves. 8. A nameless town, but a real house. Remembering the peaceful streets, green tree lines, and the familiar 2-story house of the Arnold family, it is easy to imagine a small town somewhere in America where everyone can see a reflection of their own hometown. In fact, creator Neil Marlins initially wanted to set the story in Long Island, where he grew up, with many details typical of the Northeast. But ABC don't agree. The Arnold house truly exists in real life, located in Burbank, California, in a quiet residential area with typical American houses. Exterior shots were filmed right at that location, from the front yard, the white wooden fence, to the paved driveway leading to the garage. The interior was entirely built in a studio for easier control of lighting and props. The neighborhood was carefully chosen because the trees were newly planted, still young, with fresh green leaves, creating a feeling that memories were both recent and distant, like childhood recollections told after many years. Thanks to that detail, although the setting was actually California, the series maintained a sense of ambiguity, making millions of viewers believe they had once ridden their bicycles on that very street. That nameless house still stands there today, becoming a quiet check-in spot for fans, like a preserved fragment of memory amid time. 7. Sued by Joe Cocker over the theme song. Whenever the Joe Cocker version of With a Little Help from My Friends played at the beginning of each episode, my heart felt strangely warm. That song was like a red thread running through the entire series. But few people know that this very song almost prevented The Wonder Years from airing normally. Joe Cocker and his copyright management team sued the production for using the recording without a fully comprehensive agreement covering all future distribution platforms. The production won the lawsuit after a long dispute, but the price was very high. The right to use the song applied only to the original television broadcast, not including DVD streaming or international rebroadcasts. When the series was first released on DVD, it had to be replaced with a different cover version. Later, when it appeared on online platforms, the opening audio was also changed, leaving many longtime fans regretful. The case became a classic lesson in the television industry about music licensing. A 1960s hit can give life to a series, but without careful rights. Clearance, it can become a major obstacle when technology changes. Many years later, hearing the original Joe Cocker version still gives us chills, not only because of the melody, but because it is tied to behind-the-scenes troubles that few people know about. 6. Writers eavesdropped on kids to write the script. Sometimes, when rewatching The Wonder Years, I'm still startled by how real the dialogue sounds. The awkward lines, sibling arguments, and shy whispers between Kevin and Winnie. The secret lay in how the writers worked. They often eavesdropped and took notes on real conversations between Fred Savage and Danica McKellar, off-set. When the two kids chatted, argued, or joked around during breaks, a writer would sit nearby, secretly recording or quickly jotting down the most everyday phrases. The character Wayne, Kevin's older brother, was built based on Jason Hervey's real sibling relationship, the teasing, bullying, and then standing up for each other. The writers did not copy it word for word, but drew inspiration from that authenticity to write natural dialogue, avoiding stiff sitcom-style scripts. This approach made the series different, not lines written for children to perform, but real slices of life recreated through an artistic lens. Fred later said that sometimes he recognized himself in the script, and that made acting easier for him. Thanks to those moments of eavesdropping, The Wonder Years did not just tell a story. It breathed alive like our real memories with all the clumsiness and warmth of childhood. 5. Kevin and Winnie did not have a happy ending. The ending of Kevin and Winnie always leaves me unsettled every time I rewatch it. No reunion, hug in the rain, no promise to stay together forever. They wrote letters to each other, then gradually drifted apart, carried along by their own lives. Winnie married someone else. Kevin grew up with the new relationships. Writers Neil Marlins and Carol Black intended it that way. From the start, they wanted to tell a truthful first love story, not a Hollywood fairy tale. In the final episodes, Kevin realizes that teenage love is beautiful but fragile, easily swept away by time distance and uncontrollable changes. There is no wedding, no perfect happy ending, only gentle sadness mixed with maturity. Marlins once shared that he drew inspiration from his own life. Many first loves do not lead to marriage, yet they remain the most important part of growing up. That ending made the series far deeper than other sitcoms. It reminds us that life does not always follow the script we hope for, and sometimes the most beautiful thing is letting everything pass naturally. Many years later, when thinking about Kevin and Winnie, we do not regret that they did not stay together forever, but cherish that they loved each other in the purest, most sincere way possible. That is what makes The Wonder Years remain a beautiful memory. 4. Anytown, USA was actually California. Everyone has wondered where the town in The Wonder Years was located. A small, peaceful place with leaf-covered streets, long summer afternoons, and a strangely familiar atmosphere. The creators deliberately kept it vague. No town name, no specific location. Just any town, USA, so audiences from every part of the country could see themselves in it. But if you look closely, everything gave it away. California license plates, tall palm trees, bright year-round sunshine, and fluffy white clouds floating in a deep blue sky. All exterior scenes were filmed in Burbank, California, a suburb of Los Angeles with typically American residential neighborhoods. The directors and crew chose Burbank because the terrain was easy to control close to the studio, and especially because the streets had newly planted trees, still young with fresh green leaves, creating a feeling that memories were both recent and distant, as if everything was being told long afterward. Even so, they carefully avoided filming details that were too distinctly Californian. No beaches, no Hollywood hills, no luxury cars. Thanks to that ambiguity, the series became universal. Viewers in the Midwest imagined falling snow, those in the Northeast saw red maple leaves, while those in the South thought of warm sunshine. This small secret contributed greatly to its lasting appeal. The Wonder Years did not belong to one specific place, but to all of us, to childhood memories, coloured by our own imagination. 3. The whole family rarely filmed together. Every family scene gathered around the dinner table, laughing or arguing in the living room, looks so warm and natural that we forget they were assembled from separate pieces. The reason lay in the strict child labour laws of the United States in the 1980s. Fred Savage, Danica McKellar, and Jason Hervey, the child actors, were only allowed to film a limited number of hours each day, usually in the morning or early afternoon. Adults like Ali Mills, Mother Norma, and Dan Lauria, Father Jack, filmed on separate schedules, often in the evening or after the children had gone home. As a result, Ali Mills said she often acted opposite, smiley faces taped to the wall instead of her on-screen children, or spoke her lines while looking into empty space. Many family scenes were filmed separately. The children shot first with stand-ins, then the adults filmed later, and everything was stitched together in post-production through careful editing. The on-set atmosphere was therefore sometimes lacking real warmth. No constant echoes of children's laughter, no natural intergenerational interactions. Even so, the crew worked carefully to maintain a sense of connection on screen. This method was strange but necessary to comply with the law, and it was precisely that effort that made the Arnold family scenes more precious. They were not just acting, but patience and meticulous work to recreate a typical American family, even if the behind-the-scenes reality was somewhat lonely. 2. Paul Pfeiffer also became a lawyer in real life. Paul Pfeiffer, Kevin's bookish best friend with thick glasses and a calm, intelligent personality, was always a character that made us smile because of his loyalty and unexpectedly deep remarks. Josh Saviano, who played Paul, also lived a life quite similar to the character after the series ended. He chose an academic path instead of continuing to act. Josh studied at prestigious Yale University, then pursued law, becoming a real lawyer in New York, specializing in corporate law and litigation. He once had to deny the absurd rumor that he was actually Marilyn Manson, a rumor that spread online since the 1990s, simply because of a slight resemblance and his disappearance from Hollywood. Josh laughed it off when recalling it, "I like law more than the spotlight." His life resembled Paul's in that way, intelligent, discreet, and choosing a stable path instead of chasing fleeting fame. Many other child stars struggled as they grew up. But Josh Saviano is proof that it is possible to leave show business quietly preserving peace and success in one's own way. Looking back, Paul was not just Kevin's best friend on screen. He was also a symbol of intelligent, quiet children who choose to live true to themselves rather than chase dazzling lights. 1. The fateful scheduling change after the Super Bowl. Imagine a Sunday night in January 1988. Millions of Americans sat in front of their TVS watching Super Bowl 22, the game between the Washington Redskins and the Denver Broncos. When the game ended, instead of the scheduled program, China Beach ABC unexpectedly aired The Wonder Years, a brand new series that no one knew about. This last-minute decision came from the network realizing the pilot had potential, and they wanted to take advantage of the massive post-Super Bowl audience to throw the series into viewers' eyes. The result exceeded expectations. Nearly 30 million people watched the pilot without any preparation. They were drawn in from the very first images. Young Kevin riding his bike in the afternoon sun, the warm narration voice and the Joe Cocker song playing. After just one night, The Wonder Years became a phenomenon, sky-high ratings, critical praise, and ABC scrambling to plan the next season. From a project that had almost been cancelled after a few episodes, the series suddenly gained a solid foothold. That moment changed everything. It opened the door to 6 nostalgic seasons, giving our generation beautiful childhood memories. Looking back, that scheduling switch was not just luck. It was proof that sometimes one small, bold decision can turn a simple story into an enduring icon. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe so you won't miss our next videos. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next video.